Welcome to the Shabby Fabrics at Home Studio. I'm Chase and I am so glad you're joining me today to create something together. Today's project is going to look truly beautiful in your home. It is these stunning autumn placemats here. I love the different texture and warmth that this project brings and just in those lovely autumn tones. This is going to be a kit with all the materials that you need to create it sent directly to your home, and also a few add-on products that I'll review as we get started. The very first thing you're going to want to do is prep your materials. So your pattern will go a little bit more in depth with what cuts you will need, but the basics of it is you will need 8 12 by 18 sheets of this tan wool felt here, and then 4 11 by 17 pieces of the flannel fabric that we are using underneath these placemats. These are just going to look so gorgeous on a tablescape. I love just mixing in the colors and textures, and this depth that these two bring will really just look lovely. So once you have all that cut out, we will start by tracing onto one sheet of your felt fabric here. So we have the diagram that will be included in your pattern, and I am setting it on top of this wafer light box. This is the wafer 2, and it is perfect for this project because it is nice and large. And this has the diagram and also the stitching provided for you so you can trace it. It can get a little hard to see with this felt fabric because it is thicker, so I definitely recommend the light box. And then if you feel like you can't see the markings of the stitching here, it is 1/4 of an inch from the top of the fabric is the first border here. And the second border is 1/4 of an inch from the first border, and it is every 1/4 of an inch apart for your stitching there. Just in case you can't see it very well, you'll have those measurements in your pattern as well. You place then your felt on top of your diagram here, and I'm going to take my friction pen, which you guys know I love. This pen is great because if you're tracing something, and as you're tracing you feel as though you're messing up a little bit, it can easily be erased with heat. So I'm just following the line here, and I'm just going to trace a petal so you can see the friction pen just goes on nice and easy with this felt, and you can just begin tracing your design using the light box. I already have one traced out here just for filming purposes, and this is the final design that you will have once you've traced it all out onto your felt. Very simple and easy design, but it does look beautiful, especially with the added dimension as we go along. So I'm going to set this aside for right now to give us more space. After you have this outlined, we're going to then begin cutting out the leaves here. This uses a little bit of a special technique than just straight cutting it because you'll need to get inside of the placemat here. And I'm going to use my Karen K Buckley scissors. I love these for felt projects. They're just very comfortable and easy to use and precise. And how you start cutting this material here is you're going to want to pinch the fabric first and then just snip cutting on that line. It is easier to start with the lines and then go through and cut out your leaves. So then you just place your scissors right inside the fabric here and follow the line as you are cutting. And we're following that all the way up and just creating the stem to this lovely greenery design here. So just one straight line. Once you have all of your lines cut out, because it is easier to start with the lines before moving into your leaves, you're going to then twist or get into a comfortable position to cut out your leaves. We're going to pinch each side so you can see the 2 points of the leaves. I've folded and pinched the fabric there. And then I'm going to just cut around the drawn line and get a leaf shape, just like so. I'll show this one more time. So you pinch the 2 ends of your leaf, make sure that they're even, and then follow. I do just slightly outside the line, and then it creates a lovely leaf shape. And you're going to continue doing that all the way around. For filming purposes, I already have one cut here, and this is what it will look like with the lines and the leaves cut out. Once you have it cut, I do recommend then laying down a piece of parchment paper This one is great. It's an extra large piece because we will begin applying some adhesive to this. So this just makes it super easy to where you aren't spilling on your table. You can just crumble it up and throw it away nice and easy. Then I'm going to take this unique stitch, and this is going to apply just a little bit more adhesive to the placemats, so that way when it is finished, none of these leaves here are lifting and starting to bend. So you will apply the unique stitch just slightly around the leaf here. And try not to get it super close to the border so it doesn't spew into the front side of the placemat. And we will just continue going all the way around with this unique stitch. That's a great adhesive, keeps it nice in place all the way around each leaf and line here. So once you have all of your glue applied just over these leaves here outlined, make sure you're not getting too close to the center there so it doesn't go over onto the front side. You're then going to take one of your Woolies flannel fabric pieces, which I just love this material. This is by Maywood Studio, and it just has such a nice texture and color to it. And we will just place it over, I'll go up a little bit more, over our leaves, making sure that they are all covered, and that the color then shows through on the front side, just like so. And this will dry clear. You don't want a ton, spewing over, but it does dry clear if you do get some on the front side, not to worry about it. Once you have the flannel piece of fabric underneath here, you're then going to take one more sheet of your 12 by 18 felt here and place it as the bottom portion of your placemat, just like so. We're going to line up every corner. And just to keep it secure together, I like to use pins and pin it before creating our stitching here. So I'm using these fine patchwork pins by Clover, and the caddy that these come in are so great because if you tend to have them all over the place, it's just magnetic, so you can just swipe it over there and it will clean it all up nice and easy for you and keeps them all in place. You don't need to pin a ton, just a little bit so it adheres together. And then we will begin stitching. So we are including embroidery floss that does coordinate with the design details here. I'm using my Shabby chenille needles because I like with the thicker embroidery floss, it's easy to thread with this bigger eyelet on here. And I am using 3 strands of the skein. I don't want it quite as thick, but I still like it thicker than most thread, and I just love this coordinating color with it. So to begin the stitching here, I like to start with this bottom stitching because you want it to be able to not be stuck when you go to do the top stitching here. And we're going to go in between the material and start on one point of our edge here and begin our running stitch. This easily hides your knot and your thread in the middle, so that way you don't have the thread showing on the outside. So you'll start with one stitch and then back down with the other stitch, pull it through. You're going to skip 1/4 inch and then begin with the second one here. Pull it through and back down again. And you will continue all the way with this middle border here, and then again with this outer border. If you run out and you need to finish your stitching here, I recommend finishing it in the middle of the fabric. So I would go back in and then tie my knot in the middle between the two, so it just hides the thread a little easier. But it really is just a simple stitching around the border that adds a beautiful design element. So you're just going to continue the stitching around the outside border here and then repeat the process 3 more times to create a set of these lovely, beautiful placemats that are just so simple and easy to make. I can't wait to see all of these on your tables, having dinner with your loved ones, creating just beautiful tablescapes. I know it's going to look lovely. Thank you for joining me today, and we will see you next time. In the meantime though, make sure that you follow along on our main YouTube channel, subscribe, and also follow our At Home with Shabby Instagram and Pinterest accounts. And thank you for joining.